Every jar of honey begins far from a factory floor. It starts as tiny drops of nectar scattered across flowering fields, gathered one visit at a time by thousands of worker bees. A living colony then concentrates, transforms, and stores the liquid inside wax combs. Only after that biological work is complete does modern processing begin, carrying the honey through extraction, filtration, testing, bottling, and distribution. The journey starts wherever nectar-producing plants are in bloom: orchards, meadows, forests, and cultivated fields. Worker bees land on flowers and draw nectar through their proboscis, storing the sugary liquid inside a specialized honey stomach. A single trip may involve many blossoms, and the nectar returning to the hive is still very different from the thick honey found in a finished jar. Fresh nectar contains much more water than mature honey. When foragers return, they transfer it to house bees inside the colony. During repeated handling, enzymes from the bees mix with the nectar and begin changing its sugar composition. The liquid is then placed into open wax cells, often in thin layers that expose a larger surface to the air. That surface area is important because moisture must be removed before the honey can be stored safely. Bees create constant airflow through the hive by fanning their wings, helping water evaporate from thousands of open cells. Over time, the nectar becomes denser, more concentrated, and increasingly resistant to spoilage. What began as a watery flower secretion gradually develops the familiar texture of honey. Ripening does not happen evenly across an entire frame. Some cells may hold fresh nectar, while nearby cells contain much thicker honey collected earlier. As moisture falls to an appropriate level, workers fill the cells more completely and finally cover the mature honey with a thin wax cap. Large areas of capped comb are one of the clearest signs that a frame is approaching harvest condition. The finished honey already carries characteristics determined before it reaches industrial equipment. Floral source, region, season, weather, and harvest timing can influence color, aroma, flavor, and viscosity. That natural variation makes careful handling and traceability important once many harvests move through the same facility. Harvesting starts with inspection. Beekeepers look for supers filled mainly with capped honey and avoid removing combs that contain too much unfinished nectar. Frames that are still excessively wet may be left with the colony, because high moisture can increase the risk of fermentation during storage. The objective is to collect honey that has already completed most of its biological transformation. Once a super is ready, bees must be separated from the box with as little disturbance as practical. Commercial apiaries may use controlled removal methods, carts, lifters, pallets, and vehicles to move the heavy supers efficiently. As soon as the boxes leave the hive, they are protected from dust, weather, insects, and other bees attracted by the exposed honey. The filled supers are transported to an extraction facility where the process changes from beekeeping to food manufacturing. At receiving, loads can be identified by apiary, harvest date, or floral origin. This information allows distinctive varieties to remain separate when necessary and gives processors a record of where each incoming lot originated. Before extraction, some frames are held in a gently warmed room. Honey becomes easier to move when its viscosity is reduced, but the goal is not to cook it. Excessive heat can affect delicate flavor, aroma, color, and other quality characteristics, so warming is controlled only enough to support smooth processing. Workers or automated systems remove frames from the supers and feed them toward the uncapping line. Each frame is checked for damage, debris, or unsuitable comb. In large facilities, conveyors reduce lifting and maintain a steady flow, while stainless steel surfaces, pumps, screens, and tanks make the sticky product easier to contain and clean. The first major mechanical step is uncapping. Heated knives, blades, chains, or other cutting systems skim across the surface of the comb and remove the thin wax lids that sealed each mature cell. Uneven areas that escape the main cutter can be opened manually, ensuring that as much honey as possible is exposed before extraction. The wax cappings are not simply thrown away. They still contain a noticeable amount of honey, so processors may drain, press, or centrifuge them to recover the remaining product. The wax itself can then be collected for separate processing. This improves yield while turning what looks like a waste stream into a useful byproduct. With the caps removed, thousands of open hexagonal cells are exposed across each frame. Before spinning, frames must be loaded correctly and balanced inside the extractor. Uneven weight at high speed can create vibration, reduce efficiency, and place unnecessary stress on the equipment. The arrangement must also allow honey to leave the cells without destroying the reusable comb. Preserving the comb is valuable because bees can refill an intact structure during later nectar flows instead of rebuilding it from the beginning. That makes careful extraction beneficial not only for the processor, but also for the colony. Once the frames are positioned, the extractor closes and the process shifts from preparation to rapid mechanical separation. As the basket accelerates, centrifugal force drives honey out of the open cells. Amber sheets strike the stainless steel wall of the extractor and slide downward under gravity, while most of the wax comb remains inside the frames. Radial layouts or reversing systems help empty both sides efficiently without requiring constant manual repositioning. At the bottom of the extractor, the honey collects as a raw, liquid stream. It is already recognizable as honey, but it can still contain small pieces of wax, air bubbles, and fragments loosened during uncapping and spinning. A valve releases the product toward coarse screens that remove larger material before pumps carry it deeper into the plant. Moving honey through pipes requires a different approach from pumping water. Its high viscosity creates resistance, especially when temperatures are low. Pumps, valves, and transfer lines are therefore selected to move the product steadily and gently, avoiding unnecessary aeration while maintaining a continuous production flow. Honey recovered from the wax cappings can rejoin the main stream after suitable separation. The remaining wax is collected apart from the food product and may be clarified or cleaned for other uses. Meanwhile, the extracted honey enters settling tanks, where trapped air rises and lighter wax particles gradually collect near the surface. Settling is a quiet stage, but it makes the next steps more efficient. By allowing bubbles and floating material to separate naturally, the plant reduces the load on finer filtration equipment. In larger operations, jacketed tanks may also provide carefully controlled warmth, so thick batches remain fluid enough to move through pumps, screens, and filters. Temperature control remains important throughout this section. Honey can tolerate gentle handling, but unnecessary heating may alter the characteristics processors are trying to preserve. The objective is simply to maintain reliable flow while protecting the product's natural aroma, flavor, color, and overall quality. After coarse separation, honey moves through progressively finer screens or filters. These systems remove suspended wax and visible particles without fundamentally changing the product. The exact level of filtration depends on the intended market. Some products are prepared for a bright, uniform appearance, while others are handled more minimally. Closed pipes and covered tanks protect the honey during every transfer. This matters because honey can absorb moisture from the surrounding air. Excess exposure can gradually change its water content, so processors limit open handling and keep the production environment clean, controlled, and protected from dust, insects, and other sources of contamination. Once the honey is sufficiently clear, samples are taken for quality testing. One of the most important measurements is moisture content because it strongly affects storage stability and the risk of fermentation. A refractometer can provide a rapid reading from a small sample, giving technicians a practical way to compare each lot with internal specifications. Quality evaluation goes beyond moisture. Color may be measured or classified, while aroma, flavor, clarity, and visible defects are checked for the intended product. Depending on regulations, customer requirements, or export markets, laboratories may also use advanced methods to examine composition and authenticity. If a lot does not meet the required specification, it is held separately rather than quietly blended into approved material. That separation protects traceability and prevents one unsuitable batch from affecting a much larger volume. Honey that passes testing can move onward to storage, blending, or final preparation for packing. Approved honey enters large sealed tanks that can hold substantial quantities between processing stages. Some plants preserve floral varieties separately to retain their distinctive characteristics. Others combine compatible lots to create a more consistent commercial profile. Controlled mixing helps distribute color, moisture, and flavor evenly without whipping excessive air into the product. Crystallization can also influence handling. If crystals begin forming before bottling, certain products may receive gentle warming to restore a smooth, flowable condition. The treatment depends on the style of honey being produced, because clear liquid honey and minimally processed products may follow different temperature and filtration limits. By this point, nectar gathered through countless flower visits has become one uniform industrial batch. The biological transformation is finished. The factory's remaining task is precision handling, keeping the honey stable, dividing it accurately, sealing it cleanly, and giving every retail unit a traceable identity. In the packaging hall, empty jars or bottles arrive on conveyors in organized lanes. Containers are separated, oriented, and inspected so damaged or incorrectly positioned packages do not reach the filling heads. Depending on the line design, they may also pass through an air rinse or cleaning step to remove loose particles before contact with the product. A final holding tank feeds the filler with warm, flowable honey at a steady rate. Multiple nozzles meter controlled quantities into containers moving beneath them. Honey presents a special challenge because it flows slowly and tends to form strings between surfaces. So filling heads are designed to stop the stream cleanly and keep rims as free from drips as possible. Rows of containers advance in synchronized cycles while the machine repeats the same measured fill. Automatic check weighing can compare completed packages with a target range and divert units that are too light or too heavy. This prevents obvious filling errors from continuing toward closure and gives operators an early warning if a nozzle or calibration begins to drift. Caps are then sorted into the correct orientation and delivered to each filled container. Capping heads press or twist the closures into place with controlled force, forming a secure package without damaging the lid, threads, or container neck. Some formats also receive liners, tamper-evident bands, or induction seals depending on the chosen packaging system. After closure, containers pass through another inspection area. Drips, tilted caps, damaged lids, poor alignment, and visible fill problems can be detected before labeling. Automated vision systems may perform part of this work at production speed while operators continue making regular checks along the line. Labels are applied in a consistent position so branding and required information remain readable. Date codes, lot numbers, and other traceability marks are printed onto the package, linking individual jars back to a specific production run. By the end of this section, bulk honey has taken its final commercial form, measured, sealed, identified, and ready for release. Quality control continues after filling because a good batch can still fail if the package is incorrect. Checkweighers reject containers outside the permitted range, and vision systems can verify cap presence, label placement, printed codes, and alignment. Operators also pull finished samples to examine appearance, consistency, fill weight, and closure performance. Laboratory and production records are connected so each lot has a documented history from incoming honey through processing and packing. If unusual crystals, foam, particles, separation, or packaging defects appear, the affected material can be held before it reaches distribution. This prevents a localized problem from becoming a warehouse-scale one. Cleanliness is equally important. Spilled honey can attract insects, create slippery surfaces, and leave residues around filling equipment. Production areas and food contact components are therefore cleaned on planned schedules and inspected before new lots enter the system. Good sanitation supports both product quality and reliable operation of the machinery. Only after processing data, laboratory results, package checks, and traceability records meet the required criteria can a finished lot be formally released. That approval turns a completed production run into commercial inventory ready for case packing, warehousing, transport, and sale. Release containers move toward case packers, where guides divide them into groups and automated equipment loads them into cartons. The cases protect packages from impacts, dust, and movement during handling. Printed case codes repeat batch information so larger groups can be tracked without opening every carton. Sealed cartons travel to palletizing cells, where robots or mechanical stackers build stable layers designed for storage and transport. Stretch film secures the completed pallet, while logistics labels and barcodes remain accessible to scanners. Forklifts then carry the finished loads into organized warehouse lanes, where inventory systems track location, quantity, lot identity, and release status. From the warehouse, honey can move to supermarkets, restaurants, food manufacturers, distribution centers, or export terminals. Some leaves in small household jars, while other batches are packed in larger containers for bakeries and industrial food production. The same honey can therefore enter very different supply chains. What began as dilute nectar spread across thousands of flowers has become a stable, packaged food through two very different production systems. The factory provides scale, consistency, testing, and precision, but the essential transformation begins inside the hive, where bees concentrate and preserve the nectar long before machinery takes over. From blossom to bottle, every finished jar connects biology with industry. Wax, comb, and airflow on one side, stainless steel tanks, filters, fillers, and quality controls on the other. The final product may look simple, but reaching that sealed container requires a continuous chain of natural processing, careful harvesting, controlled handling, inspection, and packaging.